Welcome back, my friends. If you're new here, I am Lance. If you're returning, welcome back to the channel. I saw this video. I saw this thumbnail, let's just say. Title was called Chappell Roan Destroyed Her Image in 48 Hours by Atozy. Atozy. I think it's Atozy. I heard something about what Chappell Roan did. She had her security guard yell at a kid of a Jude Law's kid, apparently. It's crazy. I heard a lot of different accusations. I'm really curious what was going down with this. So let's check it out. I'll leave the link for Atozy down below. Of course, if you'd like to support this channel a little bit more further, please like and subscribe. It helps with the algorithm. If you'd like to support me a little bit more personally, become a channel member at Lance's Bestie, or hop into my Patreon and just support me through over there.
Chappell Roan apparently destroyed her reputation in Brazil within 48 hours of performing at a festival, turning the whole crowd of Come to Brazil fans into Don't Come to Brazil Ever Again. Wow. I don't even know how that's possible, but today I guess we'll find out, because it's safe to say the deeper you look into the story, the more odd the whole picture just gets. Lollapalooza Brazil 2026 ran from March 20th to 22nd at the Interlagos circuit at Sao Paulo, and had TV Globo, arguably I guess one of the more important TV networks in Brazil, as its official media and broadcasting partner. This year's edition featured one of the strongest lineups the festival's had, including headliners like Sabrina Carpenter, Tyler the Creator, Skrillex, Lorde, and Chappell Roan. And for Roan, the Sao Paulo date was the final stop of her most recent tour that started in Warsaw, Poland in 2025. That might be relevant because clearly from everything that happened, she's tired. Her last performance was on March 15th in Santiago, and after that she was headed to the Tongara Palace for her stay before performing on the Saturday, the 21st, for her final night of her tour. And it was the morning of March 21st that I guess the entire story started, because that's when official TV Globo account asked Twitter, "I wonder what Chappell Roan had for breakfast today." And I guess that was the first domino that fell for this entire story, because also in town for the weekend, staying at the Tongara Palace, which by the way, I guess is just a really high-end hotel there was a woman and her 11-year-old daughter who was a fan of the singer Chappell Roan. She'd woken up early that morning, buzzing with excitement. She made a handmade sign and she was counting down to the show that evening, which was, I guess, her birthday gift from her parents. And they were also having breakfast at the hotel when someone with long curly red hair passed by through the restaurant. And the mother apparently turned to the girl, whose name is Ada, and asked, "Hey, do you think that was Chappell Roan?" Ada obviously was extremely excited from this because, you know, she's here to see her idol. So I guess she got up and she walked over just to check if this was Chappell or not. She then confirmed it was her, I guess smiled at the singer, and then walked back and sat down at her table. And reportedly, there was no phone out, no photo attempts, nor did she even say anything to the artist. So the kid essentially just glanced over to confirm that she was looking at the right person. However, moments later, a large security guard walked over to their table while they were still eating, and according to the family, proceeded to go off on them, accusing Ada of disrespecting and harassing the artist and threatening to file a formal complaint against them with the hotel. What? That just doesn't make sense. But the girl, as you would expect, ended up in tears. Now, what nobody at that restaurant could have anticipated is the person who was about to call this all out on the internet, because that was her stepfather, Giorgino Frello, who's apparently a 34-year-old Italian-Brazilian Champions League winner. He's a former Chelsea player, a former Arsenal player, and now he's back in Brazil with Flamengo. His wife, aka Ada's mother, is Catherine Harding, a British singer and model and content creator who goes by Kat Cavelli online. And Ada is Catherine's daughter from a previous relationship, and that previous relationship would be actor Jude Law. So the 11-year-old...
I was about to say, I was like, I must have heard that wrong then, because I thought I heard that she was the daughter of Jude Law. So that must be the stepfather, that Brazilian soccer player or whatever.
The 11-year-old sitting in tears at a hotel breakfast is Ada Law. And a few hours after breakfast, Giorgino published a long statement on Instagram in both Portuguese and English, where he walked through all of it. He tagged Chappell directly and ended the post in all caps, telling her that without her fans, she would be nothing, and telling those fans that she didn't deserve the affection. Now, To understand what happened next, you kind of need to understand something about Flamingo, the team Ada's stepfather currently plays for. Because after some research, while studying the topic, I think it's safe to say that these guys are not just a football club. Unlike American football clubs, the organized supporter groups at Brazilian football groups, they're very passionate people. And when one of their star players calls someone out, they're going to bat for them. So it somehow seems like all of Brazil came out against Chappell Roan for a moment on the internet. It's safe to say that Brazilian Twitter was fully locked in on being a hate mob for Chappell Roan. Even the official TV Globo returned to the tweet they made that morning and was like, yeah, oops, that aged well. But by the time Chappell was due on stage that evening, the story had already left Brazil. But either way, none of that was enough to change anything about the night's schedule. It was quite the opposite, actually, because despite all of the noise on social media, in real life, the crowd that showed up to enjoy the festival even started a "Screw Flamingo" chant. And at least there, in person, no one really stopped supporting the artist. I feel like that would actually be kind of funny here is if she didn't check Twitter or the internet that day because, she was busy warming up for her show and getting ready for the final night of her tour. So she shows up on stage and the whole crowd's just chanting F at Flamingo. And she's just like, what's going on here? That would kind of be funny because it's definitely possible she had no idea this was going on until after her show. But regardless, Chappell Roan performed her headline set at Lola. She closed out her tour in front of a huge crowd at Interlagos. And by all accounts, the performance itself was exactly what it was supposed to be. But at one point, at the end of her set, she decided to thank her security team on stage. To be precise, actually, she gave a general warm send-off to everyone who had worked with her throughout the run. She told the crowd that she didn't know when she was going to be going on tour again, and that was her last show for now, and that she was grateful for everyone behind the scenes, her crew, her band, everyone who made it possible, including her security. But of course, the timing of her thanking her security team on that day, hours after all of this broke, obviously triggered the internet. So that in itself became a massive talking point as well. So people started asking, hey, was this intentional? Was this just tone deaf? Or was it just an unfortunate coincidence? I don't know. But what we do know is that the meme response to all this was genuinely kind of hilarious. Here's a clip from an unrelated incident where Chappell was caught on camera, apparently noticing paparazzi and distancing and gesturing out of security to sick him. That resurfaced, and apparently people were saying, oh, there's a pattern here. And just like that, the timeline was already
To tell my half of the story of what happened today with a mother and child who were involved with a security guard who is not my personal security. I did not ask the security guard to go up and talk to this mother and child. They did not come up to me. They weren't doing anything. It's unfair for security to just assume someone doesn't have good intentions when they have no reason to believe because there's no action even taken. Like, I do not hate people who are fans of my music. I do not hate children.
However, Catherine's version of events, posted right after Chappell's response, matched her husband's almost exactly. Ada had no phone, made no approach, and said nothing to anyone. And she also made a point of clarifying that the security guard in question was certainly not hotel staff. He was someone connected to the artists.
Chappell has responded saying it wasn't her security and that she didn't do it. So 100% this security guard was not a security guard of the hotel. That's what I can say. He looks after artists. So I don't know if it was her personal security guard, but he was with her. So that is all I know. Did she send him to do it? Again, I don't know. Look, I would like to hope not, but at the same time, I think that you have a responsibility when you are a celebrity to make sure, I guess, that the people that work for you and that act on your behalf are acting on your behalf.
So I guess the core disagreement here isn't really about what Ada did. Everyone seems to be on the same page here. The question is who that security guard was and whether he acted on his own instructions or if he was directed to do so by his boss. Who knows? But the Brazilian press even tried to contact the hotel and question the following Monday because, you know, this is now a very big thing there now.
Yeah.
But the hotel's press office stated that it does not comment on the matters involving the guests, adding that Jorginho and his wife's statements make it clear that the hotel was not involved in the situation with the singer. So, I mean, you know, that's a little vague, but it seems like the place is backing up the family's account that the security guard was not a part of the hotel's team. So,
plus, and also, they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with that kind of drama. They don't want no kind of bad PR press. They're like, look, let's get this all done with. Look, they didn't really confirm that it was with the side of the family. It looked like they were just trying to like distance themselves. Let's just be honest. They're trying to distance themselves. If this is a highfalutin type of high class establishment, they don't want that kind of drama. They don't want that kind of press. No.
Okay. But I feel like one of the reasons this whole story went so viral isn't just because of like who the kid was, there being a kid involved, and, you know, who the parents were. No, apparently there's been a reputation that's been building around Chappell Roan for a while. So she's been one of the most outspoken artists in recent memory when it comes to setting boundaries around public interactions. And those statements and confrontations with paparazzi become a go-to example in a lot of people's arguments once the hotel story broke out. And a lot of people found this perspective reasonable, and still do. The conversations she started around celebrity boundaries and parasocial relationships were genuinely important ones. But I guess that history also meant that when a story surfaced around an 11-year-old girl being brought to tears at a breakfast table, a significant portion of the internet already had an established backstory ready to attach to it. So who knows if it was fair or not? I don't know. The thing is, like, if you are a touring artist, you are signing up to have fan interactions. That's just the reality of the job. Now, obviously, there are so many examples that are just awful between fans and celebrities. But regardless, I can't see why anyone would ever be bothered from an 11-year-old fan walking up and smiling towards you.
I can't see that.
Yeah.
Unless you're a psychopath.
Either way, though, whatever Chappell Roan ordered that morning at the Tongara Palace, it's safe to say that she ended up with a whole lot more than she expected. But other than that, hey, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.
Peace out, Atozy. All right. Ooh.
Hey, what's going on, everyone?
Who is that?
My name's
Who the
Chad.
fuck is you? I don't know who the fuck are you. Get off my screen. What do you guys think about that? I want to know who the hell is this security? Who's this faceless security guard? Ooh, let's talk to him. That's the time, Gunny. That's when you need to have a phone out and figure out who you need to record so you get a face. But if she did stick that security guard, well, she picked the wrong kid to screw with. Two high profile fathers a stepdaddy and a high-profile daddy, an actor, Jude Law. I haven't seen Jude Law in a long time. When was the last time I seen Jude Law? And a Brazilian soccer daddy, like stepdaddy, like you. And Brazil loves their soccer, like their football. I guess that's their bread and butter. So I'm not surprised they're going to be, ride or die with him as being like a big footballer. Like football, that's what they call it over there, right? Soccer, maybe? I don't know. But Atozy I've seen for years. Atozy's been around. I can't even tell you how long Atozy or whatever it is. But first time I ever saw him was he was actually he was in the Internet Historian video about Area 51, and Internet Historian threw a clip of him because he was at the Area 151 thing back in the 1999. I don't know. 209, what was it, 2019, 2018? To rush the Area 51, all the millennials did. So yeah, he was there at that event. So he's been around for a long time, and he's done a lot of stuff on YouTube. So shout out to Atozy. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty interesting video. I can see on both sides, but I get it's just very suspicious. It's very suspicious about that security guard just being. Maybe I can see her sticking to the security guard. I don't want to be bothered. Just get her. I can see that. I know some of you might defend her and be like, no, she wouldn't do that. The guy's being an asshole. That security guard. If she didn't tell him to, why would he go on his own, in my opinion? They're a attack dog. They only do stuff when you tell them to do something. Other than that, they'll just follow you around and just, other than that, if you point your finger, then they attack. That's usually how security works. But, what do I know? I'm just some bitch. Anyway, let me know what you thought about this in the video. I thought it was kind of interesting for us to check out. And yeah, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Love, peace, and grease.